We will have dinner here.
Farming on the other corner, some other people start carbon transport. This is what the society needs to construct, but for construction with a little bit claiming there is a social problem created by both the citizens and the government, and the government should be able to balance out the social problem. So that's what we try to achieve as a more establishment type of demonstration. A good living is always a good demonstration, rather than, the other country might have superb cars, but we didn't break even one piece of glass. We are very proud of Hong Kong. It will be so peaceful. Yeah. I think the world is proud. Thank you.
Who have been wearing this, and there are people who had doubts about whether the protest actually supports economic freedom or not, because this is a meeting of the Economic Freedom Network, and a lot of reservation about what are their economic thinking. So maybe you could say something about what the people who have been protesting for the last 1 month, if they have any economic demand, or what's their ideas on economic issues.
I think that is a bit difficult because these people came out because of universal suffrage.
Yes.
And it's a very mixed bunch. So it's very difficult for me to represent them, because if they're sitting in this room, they will say, "You don't represent me." They are very clear about this, that they come out on their own and they want universal suffrage. But in terms of the economic views, it's difficult. But I think that generally, Hong Kong people, I think they do not support a welfare state, because that would mean very high taxation. But they want fairer distribution of wealth and better health, education and welfare policies, but not to the extent of a welfare state. And, but I will not try to represent them. So I think the best thing is, if you have time today, tomorrow, you go and ask them. But I think if you ask 10 of them, you may get 12 views. So yeah. But generally, I think the Hong Kong people are not that crazy about having very high taxation, and but they still think that the wealth should be more fairly distributed. Please go ahead. Yes, yes, sir.
I am very grateful to Hong Kong. My name is Ron Manners from Perth in West Australia. In the mid-1970s, I had a violent dispute with the Australian Taxation Department because they did not understand the Taxation Act. So I left the country and I productively worked in Hong Kong. And I was so happy to have somewhere to go and be productive. I was later invited back to Australia, and I've been a happy taxpayer ever since. But the importance of freedom, maintaining freedom in Hong Kong, and the fragility of this freedom is of great concern to many of us in the rest of the world. So we wish you our warmest and sincerest best wishes for maintaining these very important freedoms.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And we need your help too. And here's Mr. Charles MOK, who's just joined us. And Charles is from the functional constituencies, and he represents, what is it, IT? IT, but he supports universal suffrage. So he's happy to abolish his seat, the functional constituency seat.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, my name is Robert Farnham from D66. I'm not in Parliament, but I'm the International Secretary of my party.
Which country are you from?
D66, the Netherlands. Sorry.
Netherlands.
The
Yes,
Netherlands.
welcome.
And that's why I wanted to show you this. I hope you can read it. This is the Global Freedom Index.
Yeah.
And here in the year 2013, the #1 position was held by New Zealand. In the second place was the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And the third place was for Hong Kong. So this is actually this is something that struck me. And at the time when I saw this picture placing Hong Kong in the third place, I was thinking, will Hong Kong make mainland China freer, or will mainland China actually be a danger to freedom in Hong Kong? And actually, that was before this whole movement started. But what you said this afternoon, you said you don't know how this is going to end. And well, I think that's very safe to say. But what if this does not end the way you want it to end? Will this then mean? I mean, how many places will Hong Kong dive in this human freedom index? I mean, will it still be a fairly free society, or do you see the risk that it will, well, go to where China is at this moment, which is, as you can see, not in the top 10, but I doubt whether it's in the top 50. So, what is your prediction for how this goes?
Okay, I'll have a go at my colleagues who join in. This is Mr. Cheuk-yan. He's the chair of the Labour Party, and he is directly elected. I think if we do not win this, and of course we don't know how it's going to end, we don't want it to end with bloodshed, like a bloody crackdown on Tiananmen Square in 1989. And but we are afraid that if we don't win, we will also, the freedoms and the rule of law will be even more eroded. And so that is our concern, and the concern of many Hong Kong people. So, but of course, Beijing looks very tough, and some people are saying we should find a compromise. And but Beijing is not proposing anything, and so it is very, very difficult. But if it ends in a very bad way, then I'm sure Hong Kong will drop in that index. And I hope that all of you will also speak out if you see things happening in a very tragic way. And and Mr. Lee, of course, is very much involved in the whole thing. He's on the square very often. Maybe you tell our guests what you think will happen.
Of course, it's very difficult to predict what will happen. But in a way, you can say the movement has already been successful in the sense that it's really a consciousness raising, awakening process for the people of Hong Kong. Though I would say, the society you can say is divided in the issue. But even if you said it's divided, when you look at those supporters of this movement, they are all the younger generation. Those who are under 20, only 7% surveyed do not support the movement. So 90% something support. So when you have the age group, when you look at that, the younger they are, the more support they are of this movement. And the older they are, of course they may be more conservative. I think that may be the case. But then, the future lies with young people. So in a way, we are optimistic in that sense. We don't, no matter how it ends. But you can say that the movement has started and it will continue in the future. And the young people want to really raise their voice in the future political movement. The second question you had is about the freedom index. And of course, what we are worried about is that, when you look at one country, two systems, now the overwhelming concern of China on Hong Kong is national security. So what they are feeling that our freedom is threatening their national security. And they keep on saying that, even in this whole movement. They say that this movement is instigated by foreign intervention, and this is a threat to national security, and even our election to the chief executive, the whole election that we are talking about, you know, the whole constitutional reform issue. One of the concerns they have, and they keep, it's very clear. I mean, they blatantly tell to all people in Hong Kong, their concern is national security. They said it openly, and nothing to hide. They said that why they are not allowing people up to Hong Kong to really have a true democracy and nomination and then a vote, because national security. So they look at Hong Kong as a threat to national security. And
Not
then,
Hong Kong, some of us in Hong Kong.
some of us in Hong Kong. And because the people of Hong Kong elect us, so that's a problem for them in a way. And then there's a basic law, there's one article called Article 23, which is a law on subversion to protect national security. So they have tried to did it in the year 2003, try to legislate on national security and try to have a law on subversion in Hong Kong, which we oppose. And we have 500,000 people coming out to march. And then the bill was withdrawn at that time in the final moment. So till now, we don't have a law on subversion. We don't have a law on national security. But that is something really, I think it will keep on coming up. So the confrontation between Hong Kong and China will keep on surfaces, not just on constitutional reform issue, but on one country, two system, national security issue. It will go on. And the problem for us, of course, our hope is that we change China before China changes us. And therefore, you know, we never know what's where the future lies. But that is our aspiration that democracy and freedom will prevail also, not just in Hong Kong, but also in China.
Charles,
Well, let's see what question they have.
okay, please, you first, and then you. Both of you have.
Okay, my name is Brigitte Olsen. I'm a former minister in the Swedish government. We lost elections 2 months ago. So I'm actually that's democracy. And right now, actually, we have a debate in the Swedish Parliament about Hong Kong. I initiated this debate. So one of my colleagues from the Labour Party is taking that debate with the minister, our Minister of Foreign Affairs. And I'm just curious, especially to learn from you, because you were very vocal in the former session we had that we should be more frank and we should be more forward in supporting you. But sometimes I feel from a Western perspective that some people kind of go and talk to me that you should not be this vocal because this will ruin the chances for the young students. And I think why should we separate our views on this democracy movement and this student movement when we're supporting so many other similar movements in other countries? So I'm just curious to have your advice. Should we be vocal? And I've been writing a lot of articles in Swedish media about this, and I think it's important to get our message out because this is a global freedom fight. But how should we be best practitioners in this area to support the best?
Sure. And you?
Add on this.
Are you also?
I'm a former member of parliament, and I've been Germany's Human Rights Commissioner up to last December. And I did a lot of work with people in Beijing, obviously. I was 4 times I was heading the German-Chinese human rights dialogue. My experiences, my question was in different directions. One is, I don't think of course they don't think that you're threatening national security, you're threatening the power of the CPC.
Sure.
That national security is a smokescreen. And
Exactly.
we're just experiencing Mr. Putin in Europe, who's leading a propaganda war, which is highly effective against the democracy movement in Ukraine. So I'm wondering, how strong is your support? I mean, my friends in Mainland China, they all support you, but I don't know, I don't have a feeling
Your
how
friends,
strong.
they are mainland Chinese.
People like Hu Jia or, you know, these kind of people.
Who's been in jail many times.
So they obviously support you, and there's a lot of Chinese exilees in Berlin, for example, that obviously support the work you're doing. And but I'm wondering how much do young people in China, normal young people, interested young people, how much support do they give to this? What do they think? Is there a second layer of public debate in mainland China on this?
Josh, you want to have a
Well,
go first?
I'll have a crack at both of your questions very quickly. First of all, I think a more international attention and so on would be good for us. I mean, just use the example of the upcoming meeting in Beijing for APEC. Many of us here believe that that is sort of a little bit of a buffer for us over here, because we thought that things aren't going to get very bad until at least after Obama leaves Beijing. And after that, then we don't know, because that might be, there's no more, nothing, no burden on the part of the Chinese leadership to do something even more drastic after that. So in a sense, definitely, I think our colleagues would share my view that we do want more international attention and understanding of what we're trying to do. And second, what do people in China, or especially the young people, think about what we're doing here? I think the biggest problem is that they don't know about it. With all the censorship and so on. I mean, we're not talking about these so-called dissidents like Wu Jia and so on. These people, I mean, they know. And actually, our understanding is, we don't know the exact situation, but our understanding is that there might have been more people arrested in China because they are supporting what we do here in their own ways, in very little ways, small ways. But there are more people, hundreds of people arrested in China, more than the ones that are being arrested here in Hong Kong because of the protests. So that tells you something as well about how they are dealing with it. But I think 99.9% of the people out there, young or old or anybody, they don't know, because they got all these filtered reports from the media that these are rioters and causing widespread unrest and so on. So they don't get the real picture.
So we have two more colleagues joining us. Ms. Cyd Ho is also with the Labour Party. Dr. Helena Wong is with my party. So our guests are asking about the mainland people, whether we get support from them, the young people, whether they know what's happening. And Mr. Lee, of course, wearing his other hat, is the chair of the the movement to support a democratic China. So maybe he's in a very good position to tell us how much do the mainland people know or not know about what's happening here.
Yeah, of course, there's a complete internet security and all the blocking of all cleansing of any information in Beijing. But still, people are pretty much able to go across the firewall. Or when they came to Hong Kong, they are very much interested in what's happening in Hong Kong. We, under the Hong Kong Alliance in support of Patriotic Democratic Movement of China, we have a June 4th museum. And half of the museum visitor was from Mainland. And actually, we don't have much publicity. Sometimes we felt we're quite surprised that there's so many Mainlanders coming. But we asked them how they know about this museum. It's called the 535 Museum in China.
535.
Because June 4th.
689 is not
No, yeah, it's not 669. 535 is June 4th is May 35th. And so they use 535 Museum in the internet, saying that, when you come to Hong Kong, you should go to the 535 Museum. And so it showed the people really urge for information, urge for desire for freedom, and they want to know more. And so they try to break that banning in China through this sort of a way in Weibo by saying that you can come to Hong Kong to this the museum. And also on June 4th Candlelight Vigil, every year anniversary, this year we have about 180,000 people holding candle in Victoria Park, urging for democratic China. There's also a lot now who came from China. So there's a group there's a different, there are awakened group in China, I would say, that are very much willing to change, looking for change. But of course, the regime don't allow that. And anyone that voice out as this movement, an umbrella movement, we just went to the Chinese Government Liaison Office to protest because we have not yet ended. There are some arrests in Hong Kong, 100 something, but also there's 100 people arrested in China, just for showing the support of the umbrella movement. So it's quite widespread support inside China of our movement. So it shows that people of China also look toward Hong Kong for the future in a way, that they know very much that if we can win, at least they will be better off in the sense of freedom. If we have democracy in Hong Kong, then Chinese may have more of openness, and they may gain more freedom. So if Hong Kong is sort of a limit test for the Chinese regime, the Communist Party, if they feel that they want to experiment with political reform, then where should they start? If they should start from Hong Kong, where best to start? The best will be from Hong Kong. But they don't do that. It's very obviously this time they are telling the people of China, no, we don't even want Hong Kong to have any experiment on democracy. So this is a very negative message, and we are really worried about, of course, the future in a way. But to add one more point, I think international opinion, public opinion is very important. And I think that's crucial for support, and especially media. And when the government says something, it's the media that will pick it up, or MPs, or a politician, or civil human rights group. If they can speak out, I think it's very important to drive the media to be more vocal about Hong Kong. And this umbrella movement, of course, I think is already quite successful in the sense of international press. But now it's a bit dying off because nothing is happening. But we really need more of that in the future, I would say.
The lady over there is a former Swedish minister, but her party lost the election, so she's in opposition. And she asked whether we should get the foreign media and the foreign people to speak louder or not so loud. So maybe Cyd have a go, and then Helena.
Well, of course, we need all the attention from the international community to try to help the people who support the human rights and the liberty to support the movement in Hong Kong as well. And I think a free Hong Kong with a free flow of information that actually helped global advancement, whether it is in terms of food safety or environmental protection or the spread of epidemic, then when mainland China tried to stop all sorts of information flow, including on the topics that I mentioned just now, it is a threat to the entire world. And we don't need a very suppressive government to try to stop all the information that might threaten the safety of the international community. Well, it is not only about politics in a very narrow sense. It is about a safe planet for everybody to keep on our survival. So that I hope that the freedom of information, which is part of a democratic society, that would remain the focal point of the international media and friends from the international community.
I myself met quite a few of the people from the mainland. One from the northeast part of China, from the middle, Hunan, Hubei, or from the southern part of China. So these people said that they heard there is a protest in Hong Kong, but they said that they got very little information. So that's why they come to Hong Kong and went to the occupied site. And then after a thorough understanding on what's happening there, they are very excited. And they said that in mainland, the government said that we are holding a riot and we are bad people, things like that. And when they talk to the students and those living in the site, they find out that we are not opposing, we are not trying to overthrow the regime. We are only trying to express our wishes to have true democracy. So they feel very excited, and then they see the hope for China. So if we win this time, and they will see that in future, they might have a better chance of having democracy in China. And as for the information flow, I think you need to know that we have, each year we have more than 50 million of the tourist visitors from all over the world. But the majority of them are from the mainland China. So you see how many people will come to Hong Kong. So as a tourist, they can come to Hong Kong to shop. Of course, they can also go to the occupied site to see what's happening there. So we have a site in Mannkal, of which every tourist will go there for shopping. So they will have a chance to see all the placard, poster, and everything. And they will ask why. Because they see the photo and banner of the president of the mainland China. Right? There are 5 and a lot of the poster with the Xi Jinping, the president of the PRC, on the site holding a yellow umbrella, saying that I want 2 democracies. So they will be very interested in knowing what's happening. So we have so many visitors each day from the mainland that even though if the mainland, in the mainland China they cannot get the information, they can come as a tourist to go to Hong Kong and talk to us and know what's happening here. And the second is that for the education system, for the 8 university, government-funded university in Hong Kong, we admit around 10% to 20% university undergrad students from the mainland. So they come to Hong Kong to study. And for the postgraduate, the proportion is much higher. For the MPhil and PhD research degree postgraduate program, we in Hong Kong, we admit over 70% are from the mainland. Only a minority of them are from the local Hong Kong-born youngster to go to graduate school. So for these people, after graduation, the mainland student can either stay in Hong Kong to look for a job, or they will return to the mainland or to seek for further study in other parts of the world. So we are helping to develop a younger generation from mainland. They study here, they understand our values and the aspiration of Hong Kong people, and they will bring this message back to the mainland.
Okay.
So Hong Kong is very important.
Thank you. Now, I have been told by Mr. Cyd, your mentor, that you have to leave at 6:30 to go to the Jockey Club for dinner. Maybe some of our colleagues will join you, I don't know. So Charles wants to say something.
Very quick,
we have to impose a time limit. Each
very
one,
quick,
one minute.
1 minute, very quick. I just want to offer a slightly less optimistic view, because you have to understand that those people, the number of people coming to Hong Kong from China compared to the huge population in China, it's a tiny fraction of 1%, right? And the students that are here and so on, I totally agree that we're laying down the seeds, but most people in China these days, I mean, think about the education that they've had all throughout their lives, and you know, all these doctrines that they are indoctrinated with, and also the fact that there are huge nationalism in China because of, you know, a weak country, and now you're getting all these gold medals in the Olympics, and we're all of a sudden we are the richest country in the world, and so on. You know, that kind of pride and nationalism, it just it's not that simple in this atmosphere to talk to them that hey, democracy is good. Certainly among some of the intellectuals. And so on. Some of those people who have external experience of studying abroad is much better. But for the mass majority of it, they just I want to make more money, to be honest. So let's face it, there is still huge difficulty of telling each and every one of the people in China that the democracy is the best thing for China. Let alone Hong Kong. I mean, we face a lot of people here to say that don't rock the boat because we have to depend on China.
Yes, sir?
Could I ask, is there any repercussions to you if you would go to mainland China?
We can't go. Do, Re, Mi.
So
The three of
there's
us
no
cannot
repercussion
go.
because we
She
are
can
banned.
go. Charles can go, but
And-
Lee and Cyd and me, we've been banned for more than 20 years.
If we became very public about your cause,
They may ban you.
no,
So just challenge them. Yes? You first, did you say?
I'll use his name if I go on.
Well, that is another crime.
Don't use my name. It'll be bad for you.
Yes, sir?
Yeah. What kind of debates are happening in LegCo within the council here?
Here, this one is
No,
on
on-
landfills and
expansion of the
on this
land-
issue, obviously on this issue of democracy. What I want to find out is what is the sort of position taken by various members of LegCo. So if you were to do an informal vote, would you find the majority of the members would support democracy?
No.
No.
Or no? And what are you trying to do to convince them
I
who
can't.
are
No, we
part
can't.
of the LegCo?
I have to convince their pocketbook. No, I can't convince them. Many of them are not elected by individuals. They are
Sure.
elected by companies, like the
The
airlines
functional-
or the banks, the insurance companies, the hotels. They are not. They are not democratically elected. That's the crux of our problem.
No.
But they have only one boss. Only one boss. So if
I
you
think
get
they-
that boss to
You
agree
have
to
to
democracy,
explain how.
then the whole thing will be settled. The boss is only
They don't
the Chinese Communist Party.
Don't know.
So whatever the Chinese Communist Party say, then they will follow. So one day, if the Chinese Communist Party, sort of change side in a way, or they said that we want to really have democracy in Hong Kong, then the tycoon will shut up and say, oh, democracy is good.
Yes, sir.
But today they say it's not good.
Yes.
Yes, my name is Udal Abdallah. I'm from Jakarta, Indonesia.
Jakarta.
I'm a member of Democratic Party Indonesia, not Hong Kong. Yeah.
Are you a member of the same party with the president? The
Yes,
newly
the
elected?
outgoing president, Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono,
Yeah.
of the Democratic Party, and I used to be the student protester even when I was a student in the campus during the Suharto's era. So I have a very strong sympathy with the people who are doing protests here in Hong Kong. I don't have any question, but I just want to tell you that Indonesian people are very, very sympathetic to the umbrella movement here. And Joshua Wong is very popular with the young people in Jakarta and other big cities.
Even
In social media, Joshua Wong is like, a household talk.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's very popular, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, because we've been living in a very authoritarian government for 3 decades, and we tested how bad and horrible living in authoritarian regime was. So I have a very deep sympathy with the movement here, and I support you.
Thank you. Anybody? Yes, sir?
Actually, I visit China almost every year, sometimes more than ever. And I should share with you, and I meet a lot of young people as well.
And you're from India?
I'm from India. I stay in India, but I do get occasions to visit China very frequently. I should share with you, in fact, just last 2 days I've been sending some pictures and discussing on WeChat with people in China, and I think 90% of them are aware of what's happening here.
Oh,
Aware.
Yeah, very good.
So I know, so you shouldn't feel.
Do they support it?
Yeah, many of them do. Many of them do.
Very good.
And some of them have not visited Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So it's not that they have been exposed
They
here.
break the firewall.
Yes.
Well, you were talking to the educated. How many of your friends have college degrees? All of them. See?
Yes, sir?
Yeah, forgive my ignorance, but maybe
You're from the Netherlands.
Yeah, from the Netherlands again. This whole thing about being able to choose your own candidates without interference from the People's Republic. Would you have a candidate yourself? I mean, if it were possible to stand for these elections, would you or?
I think we will work something out, and maybe not, but that's not the point. The point is that the freedom should be there.
Of course.
But right now, I think
yeah.
as it is, we will not be able to sponsor a candidate because the person cannot get the votes of more than half of the nominating committee.
Yeah.
But I think your question is, maybe we will, we can work it out. I'm sure of that, yeah. If the-
We'll be
You
forced
would
to
be able
work
to
it
come up
out.
with a credible candidate.
Yeah,
I don't know whether it's credible or not, but we will try to feel somebody. And I know some Hong Kong people say, oh, the pro-democracy people don't have a good candidate. Well, we have to try. You have to give us a chance to show that we have the ability to rule. If you're always just in opposition, you oppose this, oppose that. But you have to give them a chance to assume responsibility and to show that we are able to rule. And nobody has ever given us a chance to do that.
No political party could claim credibility without the approval of the general public. And with the current situation, the current chief executive doesn't have any credibility at all. In particular, he is involved in some international scandal on getting bribery. And I hope our friends from the international community could work it out. I don't know whether there's anyone from the Australia and UK around the table here. Yes.
Very much.
It's human you, so you it's on the record.
Definitely, we want the monitor the institution in UK and Australia follow up on the corruptive practices between our chief executive, Mr. Cyd HO Sau-lan, in the buyover of the DTZ company, and with the £4 million that he received from the Australian company, I don't think it is the right things to do. It is much more than a golden handshake as he did, and
it frankly stinks.
Yeah. and actually, corruptive practices is part of the daily life in a business with the mainland China. And I think that you don't want this corruptive practices spill over back to your home, because your small investor will definitely get hurt, like the shareholder of the DTZ. Of course, get hurt from this unholy transaction. And I hope the monitor, the institution in UK and Australia could help us to investigate into this matter.
Okay, so one final question. Yes, please.
Slightly.
Where are you from?
I am from the Netherlands, but I live in Jakarta.
Obviously, okay.
You were mentioning before in the other building that for young people it's really difficult to buy or to obtain a house, for example, and probably a way of living. Yesterday I met with a friend who's a recruitment consultant here in Hong Kong, and she said the unemployment rate is just 3%. If you move here, you will have a job in a month. There's really a shortage of skilled, of smart people. So how come, if there's a shortage of skilled people, and when they start, all those young graduates, they don't earn anything? You know, how can you? Is there an explanation?
I think when they talk about shortage of skilled people, they are talking about people who have already 20 years of experience. When you are graduate,
even graduate.
Yeah, even graduate. Even if it's a shortage, you may earn say about the usual graduate now 12,000 Hong Kong dollar a month, or even the better one maybe 20,000, 30,000. But when you look at house prices in Hong Kong, it's incredible. 10 million Hong Kong dollar just for a flat of about 600, 700 square feet.
Well, actually, I think the situation isn't too different in Hong Kong than other big cities, like London or Tokyo or other cities. We always have a shortage of people. Unemployment usually is relatively low, but the salary can't keep up with inflation, particularly with housing prices. So yeah, they have a job, but it's not enough to buy a house, particularly for Hong Kong, because we're such a small place.
Okay, so you have to leave. You have to go to your dinner, and I think if our colleagues are able to join them, please. And there's another dinner on Sunday night in the Hyatt Regency in Kowloon. So if our LegCo members can join them, I'm sure they would love to talk to you more. So thank you very much for coming.
Freedom and Economic Education Foundation, yeah?
That's me.
Yeah. Read, yeah? Very read.
No, oh, yeah, I do know him very well because the FEE they inspired our Mannkal Foundation. There we go. I'm just going to pan around and take the both of you. Okay.
Mr. Manners, will I take a picture with you here?
Okay, and here's another figure from Perth. Meet Brett is also from Perth.
Oh, yeah. Nice to meet you, sir.
He's also from Mannkal. I'm in very good company tonight. Then we'll move.
Mr. Manners?
Yes?
Yeah, could we take a picture here?
Oh, sure. The camera's on? It's on moving.
So I'm going to write you an email and then let's establish some kind of... Yeah.
We got it. Cameras everywhere.
Because I'm standing next to the shop.
咱俩再来一张合影。我和新华老师在那儿来一张合影，用你这个来表。
Let's see. We're in amongst the mob.
That is my FDP is on a good way.
I loved your comments today.
I mean, some of it, the biggest chunk of it is actually just the better performance of the British economy relative to the others. So we actually knew that, but we shouldn't be seen that. But we're now subsidising this. We've always known that it would never protect us.
Here we go. Give it up.